Hello, and welcome to week 3 of creative writing. This week, we're going to be starting our first genre week, which will be nonfiction. I always like to start with nonfiction because I feel like it's a little more approachable for students. Everybody has their own story, and not always everybody has a fiction story to tell or a poem to write, but everybody has, up until this point, lived through quite a bit of stuff. So you have something to say, and I'm looking forward to reading it. A little bit of housekeeping. Almost everybody has been keeping up with the assignments. I will be going through and giving some brief feedback on those two first craft assignments. I wanted to let you all work through that first and get over your own sort of obstacles with getting through the first weeks of asynchronous classes before I really step in, just to give you a taste of what it's going to be like. But from here on out, you're going to be getting feedback from me on your writing assignments. Okay, so let's see what we've got going on today. So here we are, the first 2 weeks done. You've done your weekly writing assignment here. You've done your weekly writing assignment here. And this week, we've got a discussion board here and a weekly writing assignment here. Here, let me go to student view. Sorry, I could have paused it, but all right. So, okay, so this week your writing is here. You're reading creative nonfiction. It's just 2 short pages in imaginative writing, and then 1 page about fact and truth. I love what it says about fact and truth in this chapter, being that fact is, my watch is pink, right? It looks white, but my watch is pink. But the truth is that this color pink reminds me of my childhood bedroom, right? That's not necessarily a fact, but that is the truth. So you're going to be exploring, what it means to write something that you remember, even though it might not be totally truthful. I'm sorry, it might not be totally factual. It will be your truth, your capital T truth, right? So make sure you get those imaginative writing pages read. And then you have The Female Body by, Margaret Atwood on page 245. There's a little typo there. In imaginative writing. And then Margot's Diary by S.L. Weisenberg on page 247. So then let's take a look at the discussion board for those. Because as you've noticed, the discussion board is related to the reading, and the writing activity is the writing portion. So it says, the excerpts from the nonfiction chapter of imaginative writing that you read this week discuss, among other things, the concept of perspective, truth, and fact. You followed this reading with 2 nonfiction pieces, both which fall somewhere on the spectrum between memoir and essay, truth and fact, right? Weisenberg's exploration of Margot Frank employs authoritative freedom by using phrases like perhaps Margot remembered and Margot also didn't write, while remains squarely in the genre of nonfiction. So that's where you see those blurred lines between truth and fact. So in at least 250 words, I want you to analyze places where Atwood and Weisenberg blur the lines between truth with a capital T and fact. Feel free to use what imaginative writing Burroway wrote in the nonfiction chapter to support your or expound on your analysis. So if you all are ever confused about what I'm asking in the discussion post, please reach out to me. I can shoot you an email. We can meet during office hours, or, if it's an emergency, I can meet with you at other times. Okay, so for this week, you're going to be analyzing either Atwood or Weisenberg and telling me how they blur the lines between truth and fact, what we know of as truth and what we know of as fact, and use the Burroway chapter to help you differentiate between those. Okay, what else is on the docket? Okay, now let's look at our writing experiment here. Okay, so here you're going to write a little bit more than you have so far. You're going to write 750 minimum. Remember that you're writing two of these pieces, and there's no maximum. So you're going to be writing two to the following prompts, two of the following prompts. Get weird, get strange, get cliche, it doesn't matter, but please don't hold back. Please number your drafts according to the prompt number. The first prompt is write a bright memory from a time before you were 5, or as close as you can get to before you were 5. I know some people just don't have memories from before then. It doesn't have to be your first memory, but it needs to be a vivid one. However, I want you to write it in the second person. In other words, instead of I or me, use the word you. For example, if the sentence was, I was hanging from the banister in the kitchen the day I broke my arm, you would write, you were hanging from the banister in the kitchen the day you broke your arm. This might take some practice. Number 2, tell your whole life story in 3 incidents involving hair. Move quickly. Transitions are where readers get bored. However, feel free to move outside of just the hair, right? This is a piece about hair, but really this is a piece about you. You know, for example, I had long down to my knees hair when I was a little kid, and then I shaved all my hair off when I was a teenager, and now I have blonde hair. So I could easily talk about my childhood, my teenage years, and my adult years through the framework of my different hairstyles, but I wouldn't just be talking about my hair. Then finally, we all live inside our bodies. Sometimes it's wonderful, oftentimes it's tiring, and sometimes it's downright awful. Tell me a story of a time when your body rebelled. So that's on Friday. Okay, I just had to hop on a Zoom call, so I don't exactly know where I was, but these are the 3 writing prompts. Um, Remember, it's 750 words minimum. Just a note about these writing assignments. Like I said, I will be giving you feedback on them. They're pretty much like, as long as you meet the brief, which is like writing to the prompt, writing to the minimum word count, turning it in on time, you're pretty much going to get full credit. Occasionally, if I see some just glaringly obvious error that I think that you like were kind of lazy with, I will take off 10 points. So don't worry about being good or bad in these first initial stages. Don't worry about your nonfiction sounding like Weisenberg's. It's not going to. However, once we draft them, which I'll get to in a second, once we draft them a couple times, I do expect you to take in the feedback that you receive from me and your peers. And once you turn it in to the portfolio, I do want to see that you've at least polished the piece, at least taken in the feedback that you've received. Okay, so this is due Friday, as all the writing assignments are. Let's go back. So, let me turn on my view because now I want to show you something. All right, so here we are in nonfiction. Then we have one more week of nonfiction. So you'll write 2 nonfiction pieces. You'll read about 3 or 4. And then on week 5, you'll have a nonfiction workshop. And what that will look like, and you'll hear me talk about this again, what that will look like is you will have these groups, and only your group will be visible to you. So you'll go on here, let's say I'm in group B. It'll just say nonfiction workshop submission group B. You will go submit, based on the prompt of that week, you will go and submit your nonfiction piece to that group, that workshop submission. Your group mates, your 3 other people in your group, some have 4, you will read their pieces that week. There's no assigned reading. You'll read their pieces that week, and you will write feedback letters for them. Some of you, this is familiar to you because you heard me talk about it in the first video. So, nonfiction, week 1, discussion board here. Nonfiction, weekly writing assignment there. Use 2 of the 3 prompts. Then next week, you'll have discussion board, writing assignment. Make sure Now there's a PDF of imaginative writing on Moodle, but the PDF doesn't have this week's reading assignment. There is this Google Drive link for this week's imaginative writing. Those a student posted last semester, and they're kind of ugly, right? They're upside down. They're not in order. Honestly, guys, it's just easiest to get the textbook. You can easily resell them to the bookstore, but I recommend just getting the textbook if you can, afford it, rent it, whatever you have to do. But I do recommend getting the textbook because this link. Oh, where is it? Oh, this is just kind of not complete, right? This goes from 223 to 247. There's pages missing. So I recommend getting the textbook. All right. So, nonfiction week 1, nonfiction week 2, workshop submission week 5. Well, you know what I mean. All right, let's check the syllabus real fast. All right, the last thing that I need to tell you about is this open creativity project here. So this is going live as we speak. You can watch me do it. Open creativity project available till the final course date. So I went over this on the first video. This project encourages you to submit something that you made. A song, a TikTok, a painting, a PowerPoint, a few photographs, a drawing. I want to see how your creative mind works beyond the creative writing page. Spend a bit of time creating something you really like or are proud of. The only criteria is it must be something I can easily access via a link, video scan, photo, SoundCloud, etc. I can't go to a play, right? And you must tell me in an accompanying description what it is and why you made it, what inspired you. So this will be due at any point between weeks 3 and week 15. But please don't forget, I'll mention it a few more times. Okay, so think about capital T truth, fact, what it means to you, what your story is, right? Read the excerpts from imaginative writing and read those 2 short stories by Weisenberg and Atwood. I'm looking forward. Tomorrow is not tomorrow. This week is the first official week of office hours. If you haven't signed up for your office hours, please go to this sign up link here. This is the office hours Zoom link for those people that I'm meeting this week. If you haven't signed up and you really need to speak to me, I usually have my Zoom on during my office hours and I'm just sitting nearby grading or something. Speaking of grading, I will be giving you feedback this week. I think I've said this 3 times now, but you will be getting your grades updated this week sometime before Thursday. If you have any questions about anything you see on there, please let me know. Otherwise, this is Professor McLean signing off till Wednesday, folks.